And today I'm talking about the top 5 solutions for common health issues that singers struggle with. So welcome to the call today. I'm Carrie Cole. For those of you new to me, I am a celebrity and holistic vocal coach, developer, founder of the Cole Vocal Method, which is a master holistic voice building method that improves the voice times 100. Florida's in the house. Georgia's in the house. Hi from Calgary. So nice to see everyone. Let me just go through a quick announcement, and then I'm going to go through the top 5 common health issues and solutions, and then I'll dive deeper into the content. I want to let you guys know that our Vocal Mastery Program, which is my year-long epic online vocal adventure live on Zoom, not pre-recorded, is closing its doors tomorrow. We have a couple of spots left, and this is for singers who are looking for a method, who are looking to seriously up-level their voices within a year. We've made it affordable. It is a third of the price of normal college programs. This is the only time I'm going to give it in this capacity with me live. I am live for all 36 sessions. There's also a certification pathway. So if you're interested in deeper knowledge or interested in potentially teaching, you can sign up for that. And in a year, you would be certified to teach and teach the method. And it's very exciting. We have limited spaces in that. So if you're interested, hit the links, and we have a special discount link. So make sure that you either write into info@Carrie Cole. They should be carriecole.com. They should be, all the links should be active. So if you comment on one of the posts, you should get the discount link. The lowest price would be $97 for the first payment. And that's for the 36 payments. So you'll see we added special financing. So, and this is again for aspiring singers, hobbyists, and for people with professional aspirations. It's quite robust and quite detailed. So you really get a lot of personal attention in the program. We limit it to 50. We're almost at that limit now. And then next year I'm going to lead, this is level 1 and 2. Next year I'm leading level 3. So I'm not going to give this again next year. And then I'm writing a book on the method. So I'm super excited to share all of that with you. But if you're thinking of this, seriously check it out, because this is the only time to get my expert ears on your voice. And we can do it in a private setting or in the group setting. Everybody gets a private practice log, so I leave notes for you in there. It's quite an incredible program, I must say, and you get the best of me when I do it the first time. So let me dive into the content today. So this is the top 5 solutions for common health issues that singers struggle with. And when I'm looking at, let me just pull something up I want to refer to, because I did a nice post on Instagram that outlined these. You'll see it there, the 5 common problems and solutions. And it is the blog of this week. So you'll find everything written out for you, all the notes over on the blog. So you don't have to take notes while you're listening. So from time to time, even the best singers run into vocal issues, and vocal health is not a luxury for singers. Many, when your voice isn't functioning, from chronic hoarseness to loss of range to losing your voice altogether, it's extremely unsettling and frustrating to have vocal issues, especially when you depend on your voice for a living. So establishing a good, healthy singing technique along with good hydration, but proper hydration. It's not just drinking water, and you'll find my ultimate hydration plan on Instagram, and the right vocal care, and also the right voice building. And this is really key, because most of the techniques out there and the tips and tricks are not really addressing the fundamental building of the voice, where you really build that foundation, and you lock in your vocal health, right? And that piece is extremely important. So let me just detail these 5, the common cause and the quick solutions, and then I'll go into them deeper. And in the comments, you can let me know what of these 5 you want me to talk about the most. So the first is hoarseness, right? So a lot of singers struggle with hoarseness that's off and on, or maybe even persistent. The common cause, and there are more causes. Hoarseness is tricky um, to figure out what exactly is wrong. The common cause is dehydration, strain, obviously, in the technique that you're using in your singing or your speaking voice. And the other is reflux, and singers run into what's called laryngeal reflux, which is not even necessarily burping the stomach acids up all the way, but they are washing up, and that will cause persistent hoarseness and breaks and cracks and that kind of thing. So again, it's a little bit more detailed than that, but for a quick solutions, definitely hydration with water, electrolytes, coconut water, and also steaming is incredibly helpful because you are hydrating, you're getting that moisture right to the vocal folds instantaneously. The second piece that you really want to work on with hoarseness is to repair microbiome when it comes to reflux, is repair microbiome. So there's a really good documentary on Netflix right now about the gut here in the US. And, I can post maybe a link to it on this post when I repost it at the bottom. If you want to know, just let me know, go to the post and, what is that gut documentary? And I can give you the title of it. They have discovered that one of the biggest problems is the damage to the microbiome from all the toxins and fluorides and chemicals and glyphosate, which is rampant even throughout organic produce because of the runoff of water and soil and the spraying in the air. Don't even get me started on that piece that we're being assaulted from the air. And really, there are some products that will help get rid of glyphosate and get it out of your body. One is Dr. Zach Bush, his Ion product. I highly recommend if you're struggling with reflux, because there's no question that it's damage to the microbiome, and glyphosate, and it's worldwide, is a known carcinogen, and it really destroys the microbiome. So in that documentary, they talk about some studies that they did, and one of the things they discovered was that people's microbiome is not diverse enough from eating the same foods over and over again, and also from eating processed foods, right? So they discovered that by adding greens into, organic greens, like into a smoothie every morning, and I would add to that diversifying those greens. So maybe you have like 2 or 3 different jars or bottles, whatever, of greens, and alternate them. That's what I do. So you're getting a slightly different ingredient list each time. And they discovered that by doing that, even within 2 weeks, the person had a much richer microbiome. The other thing about reflux is no snacking late at night. Okay. And then the other common cause of hoarseness is shouting or talking for long periods of time. So often it's the speaking voice that is causing the problem in the singing voice. So in my vocal rescue kit, where I go into vocal therapy exercises to restore the voice, I also go into the speaking voice, how to speak without glottals, how to speak without rubbing the chords. And that piece is really important, because the speaking voice can literally ruin the singing voice. And it's very often the case, because singers tend to have better technique with singing because they're trained, and you also have to breathe more. But with speaking, you really don't. And it's easier to fall back on the throat and abuse those vocal folds. Number 2 in the common vocal problems is vocal fatigue. So this is a common problem that I hear, And it either comes from, let me just see if there's any comments yet. It either comes from underuse. Commonly it comes from overuse of the voice. You're overusing the voice, you're not warming up properly. Sometimes it's just overusing the voice because there is a wear and tear that happens with professional singing. But you may also not have a good enough technique and be singing falling back on the throat too much and destroying your voice, right? And so overuse over time will cause vocal fatigue that then leads to vocal problems that can lead to edema or swelling and can even lead to nodules. We'll talk about that in number 5. But the also is underuse. I had a singer who was really struggling with her voice, and I thought she was working on her exercises. It turns out she wasn't. She went to the voice doctor, and they actually told her, your weakness is from underuse, or your fatigue is from underuse. Boy, was she embarrassed. But hey, no worry. It's just detecting what is wrong, why it is wrong, and what the solutions are is a little bit of detective work. And if anyone is struggling and having trouble, start with my vocal rescue kit and then come and have a vocal analysis with me. I can often get to the bottom of it within 30 minutes because I have you fill out a long form that gives me all the information. And from working with singers for 38 years and also specializing in one of my specialties besides vocal arranging and technique pedagogy is vocal health. So in New York City, a lot of ENTs would send me their clients who had vocal problems because I was trained in vocal therapy, and this method has vocal therapy in its base. So the solution is really first vocal rest, and then unless it's from underuse, and then you need to get active. If it's from overuse, you need some vocal rest, then you need vocal therapy, followed by proper voice building techniques. And you might need a little bit of conditioning work where we thin out the edges of the vocal folds from inflammation. Number 3, the common problem is loss of upper range. So this is an indication that the voice is starting to have swelling, which happens from repeated singing over time without the proper conditioning for warm up and conditioning for cool downs, overall conditioning, right? So, which is really it's an indication that the voice is starting to have some problems. So one of the first signs is hoarseness. The second sign is fatigue. The third sign is loss of upper range. When you start losing the upper range a bit, and also recovery after gigs. But the loss of upper range is an indication that the vocal folds are swollen. And again, there is what we call edema or swelling that occurs from singing professionally. So from a 45-minute set, Dr. Peek Woo here in New York says that the equivalent of that 45-minute set for a singer is equivalent to a 2-hour game of a linebacker. And that in football, and you can imagine the amount of impact on that linebacker, right? Well, on the physical singing voice, singing full out for a 45-minute set or an hour set or even longer, singers are constantly trying to bring their voice back into balance. So over time, without the proper warm-ups and without the proper cool downs, and then also conditioning, which I teach inside the vocal mastery program and inside my vocal freedom circle. But I also start in the singer's gift. So the cold vocal method starts with the singer's gift warm-ups, and they're designed to open and free the voice. And many people have a big result even just from those, because we're addressing the physical tension in the voice, reducing the physical tension while you're warming up to actually create more ease in the voice. Then there's a vocal rescue kit that's part 2, and that has vocal therapy, the conditioning cool downs, and speaking exercises. Then we have the master voice building exercises. This is a method. The cold vocal method is an actual method the master voice building exercises build the actual strength of the voice, the legato line, the overtone series, all of these pieces. We work right through the middle to strengthen the middle, to build the bridge, and create a strong, rich, resilient, and healthy voice. And so loss of the upper range is an indication that there are problems, and we need to work with that singer's voice, identifying what those problems are and starting, put them on a course of correction. And I can do that literally in a 30-minute session. I've restored voices very quickly, turned them around very quickly. Also, inside my Singer's Gift warm-ups are the vocal massage techniques. Level 1 of those, I teach level 2 of the massage techniques inside the vocal mastery program, which is in session now, just started. There's still time to get in. We close tomorrow. And then level 3, I'll teach next year. Okay, so number 4, and yes, I'll get to questions in just a moment, so I'm happy to answer them. I see Dejan Ruby has a question there. I'll get to you in just a moment, dearest. Okay, so 4 is voice loss after shows. So the common cause is over singing, incorrect technique, not warming up properly, not cooling down properly, and not conditioning properly. I consider cooling down. So you have to understand, I've been a voice pedagogy teacher for 38 years. So way before all this new wave of vocal teachers, coaches, they call themselves. But I am a real pedagogy teacher, and I also do coaching and arranging and all of those pieces. But this pedagogy is extremely important because a lot of the techniques out there, I get a lot of students from other techniques that end up with nodules or end up with problems because the vocal health pedagogy is not in those techniques, right? They're just interested in getting people to sound good quickly and not as much in the longevity of the voice. And they may not know they were trained in a certain way and they don't have this deep of a training. So with incorrect technique over time, so these warm-ups and these cool downs and conditioning are very specific exercises that are based in vocal science that you won't find anywhere else. They're not anywhere else because my mentor who taught exclusively at my mentor's mentor who taught exclusively at the Metropolitan Opera passed away several decades ago, and my mentor is now in her 80s and never brought this forward. So this is the only place to get this this particular method that is based in 40 years of vocal science. So you have to understand this is about really building a world-class level instrument, the tone, the quality, and then baking the vocal health. If vocal health is baked right into it, it's a very important piece of the training that ensures and protects the longevity of your voice and improves performance greatly because you're not burning out your voice with each performance. So vocal loss after shows is a big deal. And the causes really come from oversinging and incorrect technique and problems with the speaking voice and dehydration and stuff like that. So the solutions are always hydration first. Vocal massage that you'll find inside my Singer's Gift warm-ups. We do very specific massages not found anywhere else. Cool downs to reduce inflammation, which is really important. And then there's some other techniques and tricks that we use. The Throat Calm by Boron is a homeopathic product that actually takes down the swelling in the vocal folds. But that should be a temporary fix. If you're having to use that all the time, then you're just masking the symptoms and you're not really getting to the root cause, which is where you really need to work. You need to correct the technique so this situation doesn't happen anymore. And then the 5th is more serious problems, vocal edema that can lead to nodules. So edema just means swelling, inflammation of the vocal folds. So the common causes there are vocal fold inflammation, the swelling, and incorrect technique, incorrect warm-ups, no conditioning, no cool downs, things that are, and just the incorrect technique in general, which is going to cause more swelling because you're singing more from your throat. So the solution for a more serious problem, and I was working with a singer recently who ended up going for surgery, and I don't recommend that. I recommend doing a full series of vocal therapy with with me first, not just a speech pathologist, because as a singer, there are specific differences and things that you need to tend to that speech pathologists don't cover, although they are getting better. I'm noticing that. But she ended up with real problems and possibly a permanent problem. So this happens and you want to avoid that. So the importance of having the right technique, I can't even express how important that is, whether you sing in the choir weekly or you are singing, have professional aspirations. Chronic hoarseness is the beginning of the problem. And there's a problem, right? So it's either coming from, it's not just dehydration, it's coming from too much tension in the instrument, incorrect technique, not using the voice correctly. And over time, that will break down the voice. And then you have a real problem. And, I worked with many singers who had nodules, one of them during the making of her record, and we got rid of them in 3 months. So if you catch it quickly and you do the vocal therapy regimen, we had to halt her record until she resolved the issue. And that was smart because she doesn't have vocal problems now and didn't end up with nodules, because once you get nodules, then they're much harder to get rid of and you have a problem. But I did work with a singer who had nodules for 7 years from incorrect technique and training that was teaching her to push and fall back on her throat and wasn't teaching her the proper support. And she had nodules, fairly large ones. And we got the swelling way down on those nodules. We decreased the size of those nodules by 90%. So they were still there because they'd been there for 7 years. So that's a long time. So the probability of completely getting rid of them is, next to is maybe 0.5%, 1% maybe. But we got them down where they weren't interfering. She wasn't losing her voice anymore, and they weren't a problem as long as she maintained the vocal therapy and health and hygiene. So it's a serious issue, and you want to avoid those problems altogether, and you can. When you have a method like this underneath you, you are building your vocal health as you are building your voice. Let me open up for questions. So please put them in the comments, whether you're on YouTube or on Instagram or on Facebook. Let me know what your questions are. Mark says, if I want to seek out an ENT just to get an evaluation of my vocal health, what questions should I ask to make sure I'm getting a provider who's looking at the right things? Good question, Mark. Not all ENTs, even if they say they work with singers, specialize in the singing voice. So I recommend Dr. Peek Woo here in New York. Let me know where you are, Mark, and I'll see if I know someone in that area. But the question would be, do you work with singers? Postnasal issues are better to solve through microbiome and diet. It is a bit of an allergy issue, and in Idaho, I can see if I can find someone there, but I don't know. Probably, the bigger cities where musicians are. But you might have some luck. I mean, you might want to consult the speech therapists, some of the better speech therapists, and who they recommend to get a good referral there. That's what I would do. I would call the office and of the top speech therapists and ask them who their referral is. And then, of course, you're interested in coming to see them. They might not give that out unless you have a session with them. But that's something to try. I had an ENT even here across the street at NYU Hospital, and he said he specialized with singer, and he misdiagnosed one of my singers, never went back to him. But the diagnosis is really important. And if they work with singers, they are trained to look for those specific issues. But always get a picture, and then you could come to me. We could do a 30-minute and I could evaluate it. You might even want to come to me before you go to the ENT, because I can very often save you that trip. I can let you know what is actually going on and what the course would be that you're going to have to follow anyway. So you could set up, I have a vocal health session, but it's expensive. I would set up the vocal, well, we have a Black Friday sale coming up where it's 50% off private sessions. So that's what I would do. And I would get the vocal analysis, which is 30 minutes. It'll cost you 125 with the 50% off. Or you can do the whole vocal health session, which you pay 250 for an hour. And then we could really dive in deep, but 30 minutes might be just fine. But we'll also just let us know that you're coming for vocal health if you sign up for that 30 minutes. And then we'll send you that deeper questionnaire. So by the time you come to the session, I'll have all the information and I'll be able to, work more quickly within that session to tell you what the course would be and kind of where you're at. And I think someone else had a question to John Ruby. I don't know if you're still here. Go ahead and put your question in the comments. Rehabilitation after pregnancy. Is that a question, Caitlin, if you're still here? Hi, Jeanette. Good to see you, love. I have a few more minutes, so let me know if you have any questions. But in looking for an ENT, it's very important to work with somebody that works specifically with singers. And because the diagnosis can be a little trickier, and I'll leave you with this. Before you go, really up your hydration content. One of the ENTs I work with said, if my clients drank more water or were more hydrated, and that includes steaming, which if you're a singer, you should steam every day for 5 minutes, just water, filtered water, please, no chemicals. And not aqua, like a good filtered water, a clean filtered water. I drink Aquapana, but that's me. I can afford to do that, but get a good filtered water for steaming. But hydrate, steam, and drink more water. Drink some coconut water. If you don't like that, drink electrolytes. Get more moisture, eat soups, eat fresh salads, green juices, things that are actually going to bring moisture into your body. And that will actually help the microbiome. And then I would try having a smoothie every day with green powder, with an organic green powder, to start to improve the microbiome. And then also look at allergies. I don't know if you've been tested for allergies, but the reason why I say all of this is because I've countless people over the years, go for this nasal surgery and their doctors talk them into it. Or you have a deviated septum, or, you have allergies. They put you on allergy shots, which don't really work. They just mask the symptoms. I'm more interested in getting down to the root cause, and I have a full regimen for allergies, how to get rid of allergies, which is really coming from a problem in the microbiome and in the gut, which we have a lot of today. And then some people with deviated septums, they go for these surgeries and it doesn't really make a difference, not enough to warrant the expense and the discomfort of going through all of that. So I like to handle things more naturally and put people on a course that actually solves the problem or gets rid of the problem. For people that have reflux, they'll just put you on PPIs or on medication, and any pharmaceutical medication will dry you out, including allergy shots. So for singers, it's not a great option because it dehydrates the crap out of you. Same with steroids, right? So it's not the best, it's not the right solution, actually. It'll make your cords like the Sahara Desert, and then you're singing and then you're causing more injuries. So it's better to use more natural sources and have an actual treatment plan for that, because you need to be diligent and you need to know exactly what you're doing. And a lot of it too is evaluating, what you're eating, what you're drinking, your lifestyle, your vocal habits, your vocal technique or lack of, what's actually causing all of these issues, and, what's going on, and do you have allergies? So it'd be good to get tested. There is a way to do a natural version of the allergy shots. And some people have reflux, and postnasal drip is actually a reaction to the stomach acids that are washing up on the cords. Exactly. Some help. It doesn't really work, exactly. Yeah. It's not really effective, and costs a lot of money, and it's a lot of irritation. And, I don't know if it causes more problems because you're you're messing with that area, when there's scar tissue and things like that uh, cause other problems potentially. So, um, okay. Any other questions? Well, thank you so much for spending this time with me today. And I'm probably going to hop on again tomorrow, I think around 12 Eastern, or maybe a little later in the afternoon. Tomorrow is our last day to join the Vocal Mastery Program. So those of you who have professional aspirations or have personal aspirations to really step into the full potential of your voice, check out the Vocal Mastery Program. This is the only time I'm leading it for the next 3 years, and in this capacity where I am live for all 36 sessions. So it's an opportunity, and you get the whole method on audio and video. It's an opportunity to really come and master your voice. And the special link, let me just grab it for you. I'm going to put it over on YouTube. I can't type it in. I'll put it though. I'll put you can comment method or comment info. If you circle back to this post, I'm going to repost the live stream. If you comment info or method, we'll give you that special link. And if you need help, email info@Carrie Cole. But let me just grab that. I can put it in and check out our Black Friday sale, which will be coming up in November shortly, where you get 50% off private sessions. We only do it twice a year, once in August and once in November. So this is the time to buy. The program is 3 classes a month. There are 2 master classes, and then there's 1 coaching call, and they're on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern to 4:30 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour-and-a-half class, and the replays are up within 24 hours because not everybody can make all of the classes. And you'll also see a special certification pathway for singers that want deeper knowledge from a vocal coach's perspective, or possibly want to become certified to teach the method. So that's also available. But let me put this coupon here. I'm going to put it over here on YouTube. I just added it. And then I will go back and point to it when I repost this live stream in a few minutes. Yes. Any other questions before I head out? Good to see everybody today. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. If you're serious about your voice, get your butt in this program. Thank you, Caitlin. Thank you. You're welcome. It's my pleasure as a teacher, as a veteran teacher at this point, or master teacher. It's my pleasure to be able to use all of my years to be able to easily, solve these issues. So it's my joy to be able to do that from so much experience and so many years of solving problems for singers and solving them naturally and holistically, and watching all the other routes, and knowing what works and what doesn't work. And I can very easily turn whatever problem, I can pretty easily diagnose what's going on and be able to set you on the right course very quickly, whereas you could spend years trying to figure it out. Why? Why, when there are answers? The great thing about vocal problems is they are not fatal, but the problem is they are persistent. And when you don't know what is causing the problem, like maybe it's coming from your speaking voice, but you didn't realize, maybe it's coming from, dietary things, maybe it's coming from a lack of hydration, maybe it's coming from lack of correct technique. What's the correct technique to use? It's usually a myriad. Maybe it's coming from tension in the muscles surrounding the instrument. Very often it's a blend. Vocal problems are coming from tension, extreme contractions in the muscles that surround the vocal mechanism. We didn't talk as much about that today, but it's very, very usually what's causing the problem, on top of some kind of imbalance in the microbiome, in the gut, causing reflux, causing postnasal drip, because the stomach acids wash all the way up into the nasal cavity. and they kind of fake that that you think that you have allergies, but you actually have reflux. That's one thing. You can also have allergies, right? But it's usually a blend of all these things by the time the person comes to see me. It's like, what is going on? I can't sing. And it just starts with hoarseness, and then it starts, you know, um, then you're burning out at the end of your gig. That starts, and then you don't recover as quickly, and then there's loss of range. That's the next thing. So it's sequential, and it's important to get to the bottom of what it is, and you can turn it around. I usually can turn it around within 2 or 3 months if it's a more serious problem, 2 to 3 weeks if it's a lighter problem. Someone just wrote in, actually, who was using my Singer's Gift warm-ups, and they said, I was losing my voice, for years before doing your warm-ups, and in just 2 weeks, I'm not losing my voice again. So that tells me that his issues were more tension, because the Singer's Gift is really focused on specific massages and movements and sequences and exercises that reduce the tension and open up the voice, right? So everybody's a little bit different. So if you're really looking for help, come and, get that Black Friday special for the vocal analysis, the 30-minute session, or get the deeper session for vocal health. If you really want to develop the right technique and preserve your voice, come and join the Vocal Mastery Program, which is our year-long program. You can also join the Vocal Freedom Circle, which is our 8-week online, but that's a self-study. So if you want more engagement, come and do the Vocal Mastery Program. It's phenomenal. We're 2 classes in already, and when the minute you join, you can watch the replays. And we have our coaching call later today at 3 p.m., our first coaching call. And then month 2 is November. So tomorrow that closes, and I won't open it up again. And to the equivalent of those 36 classes with me of my time at my rate is $27,000. So you can get it for under $3,000 for the entire year. And your payment plans could be as little as $97 if you take the 18-month. So it's extremely affordable. I wanted to make it that way for people that are serious about their voice and they really want to get the right method and preserve their vocal health. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you at the next live stream. Have a great, wonderful day. Bye, guys.